I have one more. What kind of scale do you use when you're playing? Like, the type of.
90% of the time, I think close to probably, I would say 98% of the time, when you see me playing and I'm doing scale runs, it's just a major scale. I'm just
Okay.
starting at on different degrees of the scale. You know, not a perfect example. If I'm doing this El Shaddai again, or arpeggios. That's an arpeggio. So 98% of the time, it's either a major scale or an arpeggio. And then the 2% of the time, it's either going to be a pentatonic scale or a blues scale. So if I'm doing something more bluesy, gospely, churchy, then you're probably going to hear a lot more bluesy runs, pentatonic runs. If it's more sort of like the soul stuff, like what I was just doing now, sort of not bluesy, then most likely it's the major scale. And I say major scale for simplicity. People might over technical it and say, oh, he just played the Lydian mode. But the Lydian mode comes from the major scale. So it's easier to think about it as just a major scale starting on the 4. Or when I go to that flat 7, or the 6. So that is a mode derived from the A scale. So you can think about this as like the melodic minor scale. But the way I'm thinking about these, I'm not thinking about scale names. I'm thinking more practical that if I play, I'm in the key of C, right? So I'm supposed to be playing all white keys. But here now, I just throw in an A7. So all I do now is think C scale with the C sharp. So it's like playing a C major scale, but now I'm including the C sharp. That's purely how I think about it. Now, if someone say, what is the technical name for the scale? Then I go look at it and I say, oh, it's the melodic minor scale. But if when you're trying to play, you're thinking about all these scale names, it's going to be impossible to execute what you're doing. But if you think about it more practical, that to make the scale work for A7, you have to introduce the C sharp. Then you realize, okay, I can just play my still major scale, but now include the C sharp instead of the C. And that's why I think about it. Same way when I go to the B flat, I'm thinking the same thing. Now I'm playing a C major scale, but I'm introducing the B flat. So meaning I'm substituting the B flat for the B natural. And if someone asks me, what is the technical name for it? And I can go, oh, it's the Mixolydian because it's the 5th mode of the F major scale. Now I'm able to do that very quickly, 2 years of experience, and I can just see that it derives from the F major scale. But in my playing, I'm not thinking about any of that jargon and names and anything like that. I'm thinking more practical. And that's how you think about improvisatory. When you improvise, your melodic lines need to belong to the chords or the scale, or else it's going to sound funny and sound incorrect. If it doesn't match the chord or the scale, then you're going to hear that it's wrong. And when you're playing something and it sounds wrong, 99.9% of the time it's because it's introducing notes that doesn't match what's going on in the left hand. And so when you start to approach improv from that perspective, you realize that it's actually not that hard to hit the right notes. Then the only thing you have to think of now more is, okay, how do I want to phrase my rhythm and how do I want to phrase my melodic line? Because now you know the exact notes that you should be hitting. Should be belonging to either the chord or the scale. And so my right hand runs are usually the scales based on what's played in the left hand, or an arpeggio based on what's played in the left hand. It's not going to be anything else.